Well, as I'm sure many of you know by now, a recall petition for Governor Gavin Newsom of California has passed and is going to be on the ballot. He's a gracious and attractive tyrant, that Gavin Newsom, but he's done enough damage that not even an $800 haircut can cover up. The problem with California is not people like Gavin Newsom. The problem with California is the quality of the Republicans that are running against Gavin Newsom. I saw the Republican challenger. I was in the front row at a large event. Who was running against Newsom in the last election here. And after about 15 minutes, I felt this unbearable urge to go out and find myself the nearest used car dealership so I could have a conversation that contained some vision and sincerity. There was a time when California led the country in everything. The United States rotated towards the West. California was the home of all of these great ideas, innovation in aerospace, innovation in agriculture, Hollywood, all of it. Used to be a laughingstock with Governor Moonbeam, but now it's a hated laughingstock. How hated is it? Well, I'll tell you something. If I ever had to move back to America, where I grew up, Texas, let's say, and neighbors would come up to me and say, "Hey, welcome, howdy there, neighbor. Where are you from?" I would tell them that I was from Syria. Syria, huh? What made you leave Syria? Oh, insufficient religious fervor, sir. Because I think that'd do a lot less damage to my relationship in the neighborhood than telling them I'm from California. I can't just get in my car and drive to Texas or Idaho or someplace like that works. I can't just do that. They would see those tags and they would assume that I was this California virus and they'd get quarantined, and I wouldn't blame them one little bit. If I ever had to move back to the United States from California, I'd have to move from California to Nevada. I'd have to live in Nevada long enough to get Nevada plates. And then I'd have to move from Nevada to Utah, and then I'd have to get Utah plates, and then I could probably go to Idaho or Texas or something like that. I call this license plate decompression. That's how badly hated Californians are, and rightfully so. This state has become an absolute and utter disaster. So, here we go. In my opinion, there is nothing worse than doing a dirty deed to a good man who has always been fair and gracious and honest with you in the past. I think it's the lowest of the low, and that's what I'm about to do. I've decided to use my monumental ability to change the course of human events in order to convince Larry Elder to run for governor of the state of California. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Larry has two main qualifications. Number one, he knows how things work. And when I say he knows how things work, I'm not talking about the government of California. Look, if 80-watt intellect Jerry Brown can run California, 150 watts of Larry Elder firepower shouldn't be too tough. I get the feeling he'd learn on the job pretty quickly in terms of running the actual government. When I say he knows how things work, what I mean is he knows how things work in the real world. He understands it. He understands conservatism, understands private property, understands the free market, has seen again and again and again and again the power of what happens when you get the government out of the way. And people like Elon Musk see the power, and that's why they leave California and go to places like Texas. He defends this idea every single day. And unlike the other politicians that run in California as Republicans, he knows how to make the case. He knows how to destroy the opposition. He makes the argument every single day and gets paid well to do it because he's very, very, very good at it. And that ability to sell Americans on the fundamental idea of what Americans is, I think that would work even in California. But Larry Elder's greatest single reason that would make him a great governor, in my opinion, is the most important one of all, and that is simply this. Larry Elder doesn't want the job. That makes him eminently qualified for the job. You should always be suspicious of people who want that job. If Larry Elder were to run for governor, first of all, it'd be a significant pay cut for him. I'm just curious if any other prominent national Republican politicians come to mind in terms of people who have already done well for themselves in the free market and then go into politics because they feel that they have to. Mediocrities, like Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, and then just outright grifters like Pelosi and Biden, they go into politics poor and they come out as millionaires. Larry'd probably be going into politics as a millionaire and probably come out having lost a small fortune. So why do it? First of all, think about what a win that would be. What a win that would be if Larry Elder were to be governor of California. And I'm not talking about a political win, although just try to reimagine what national politics would look like, presidential elections would look like if the 52 electoral votes of California, that's better than a fifth of the way there, it's about a quarter of the way there, if those votes were not automatically in the D column. Just think about that for a second, but that's not the reason. It's not a political reason. It's a national reason that Larry Elder needs to run for governor of California, because if anybody could turn California around, that would set an example for the entire country. The entire country looks at California with disgust and dismay and despair, and rightfully so. It is the perfect example of everything that has gone wrong in America. And to be able to turn that around, not even get it there, just to alter the trajectory, would be to give every American, not just Californians, hope that governance could return to America, that the rule of law could return to America, to the entire country. That's the kind of win it would be. Now, Larry Elder's taken a lot of abuse. I've taken some abuse, but I'm not as famous. I don't have the reach that he does. And he's been called a lot of names, and that comes with the job. But there is one particularly vicious slander against Larry Elder that I simply will not let stand. And that is when people call Larry a black conservative. What a disgusting and malignant term to use on such a fine man. Larry Elder's not a black conservative. Larry Elder is a conservative. To call him a black conservative is to demean both of those adjectives. Our entire theory, not of government, but of people, is individualism. America was put on the earth so that individuals had a place to live. Individual protections of individual rights, individual responsibility, individual justice, individual lives. It's all about individualism. That's the entire reason that conservatism exists as a political movement, is to protect the individual. Larry Elder's not a black conservative, he's a conservative. And the most powerful use of the race card in politics today is to not play it at all. Now, as far as getting there goes, look, the ads write themselves, right? I mean, there are human feces, on the sidewalks of San Francisco. There's bubonic plague in downtown Los Angeles. The piles of garbage and the ever-swelling crowd of desperate people under virtually every overpass and in every open space, the mounds and mounds of garbage and detritus of lost and ruined lives are everywhere. Every single one of them. Every picture of every single one of the thousands and thousands of them is a billboard for Larry Elder. Now look, I understand California just leans a little bit blue, right? But if I was running this campaign, I would basically take an attitude that went something like this. You know, and I know, and anybody who lives here knows that this state is falling apart. I understand you don't want to vote for a Republican. Okay. But that's why they have the little curtain on the voting booth. So if you're looking around and seeing everything that you love being destroyed, how about if you go in there and vote Republican just once? Just once. Just do it just one time. It'll be our little secret. No one has to know. Now, to let you know how serious I am about this, I'm not joking here. All snark aside, I want to say this publicly. I would make a personal pledge right now that I would do any campaign event for Larry Elder that I could possibly get to. If it's a local event, I'll do it for free. If it's more than a couple hours drive out of LA, I'll do it for the cost of getting there and getting back. That's how deeply I believe in this man. And all I want in terms of political payback, should he be elected, is very simple. Larry, if you're elected governor of California, that means I don't have to go back to Florida. I grew up in Florida. I spent 25 years in Florida. I love Florida. Florida's a great place, but 98% humidity and a 98-degree temperature all the time and the mosquitoes and everything, I'd just rather not. Florida is governed magnificently. If California were governed competently, I wouldn't have to move. I'll just close by saying this. I don't know Larry well enough to bet my life on his integrity. We've met a few times, and I think very highly of him, obviously. And certainly, I cannot afford to buy any large stretches of agricultural land in the Central Valley. So, if it came down to swearing to Larry Elder's ability to resist corruption, I couldn't say that I would bet my life, but I would most certainly bet the farm if I could afford to own one here. Now, I happen to know somebody who can force Larry to watch this episode, so since he'll be watching this episode, let him know what you think about the idea of him coming to the rescue of this state in the comment section below here on YouTube and in other places that this thing may be posted. And Larry, final thought. If you run and get elected, I am promising you right now that I will publicly and personally apologize to you at the end of your term.